sides. Gwen, Varus. Maybe see a Rumble come out here. If you want to take away like an Azir, you could go for that as well. Couple of spots by this point. The Trundle ban on the other side for TES is unique, but right into Monki's wheelhouse as well. Yeah. So 2 bans go towards Monki's side. Question for you, Bloxer, is what are you expecting to be left up here the top esports are going to like as the Azir, hey, Colorcaster point for Slayer, does come off the board?
Yeah, not surprised that that one goes away. I mean, in terms of things you're now leaving open that people have really enjoyed picking up early, the Pantheon, the Vi, all of these just aggressive early game-based junglers have been all over the meta at the moment, and I can see Kanavi just wanting to lock one of those in. The Pantheon, it's been the highest pick ban that we've had in the entirety of this split 3 so far, and it's the sort of pickup that he loves because it means he can then put his laners ahead. He can get involved early. You're not stuck in the jungle on the Lilia for the first 12 minutes, not being able to impact the map.
Our split 2 MVP looking to get himself in a comfortable position, but why not, right? Yeah, okay, so...
If they're going to give it to you.
So one thing's going to happen here. We're going to see top esports drop a game to WE, which which rarely is going to happen, or we're going to see Cube lose his win streak on Sion. The win streak for WE, like we mentioned, on Sion. Beefy we're getting already here, as Monki's going to go towards the Skarner. So a ton of frontline and a decent amount of playmaking between Monki and Cube already for WE.
And this Skarner is something that has been falling off since Split 1, where we had it almost 100% pick banned. It's been getting less and less priority as we've been moving on, but it's something Monki absolutely loves, and I love to see him on it, like you said, very tanky. I think I'd also like to see this Orianna locked in right here for Karis. You're gonna get bullied around by Creme. Karis' laning phase has been the weakest part of his game, and I think the weakest part of the overall WE look that we've seen recently, and so putting him in something that can just sit back, absorb pressure, and then give you a little bit of extra ball delivery into the back line, extra tankiness, extra aggression on your other carries, that should be good. Still, if I'm Creme right here, looking at the fact Karis has just locked in the Orianna, I'm feeling great about this lane. I'm now not under threat from anything. I can play whatever I want.
That's why the Akali ban's really good here from WE. Cream would love to pick the Akali into this Orianna and slam it. On the other side, though, what does TES want to ban away? The easy answer is safe Taeyoon champions. I think they should be taking away super scalers. I think you need to take away sustained damage, because double tank in top and jungle with an Orianna in the mid lane, that's just burst and front line. So there's nowhere for real sustained damage to come across yet. Taeyoon has to be the answer there in that category, as we see Creme draw 2 bans onto 2 of his most played champions so far in 2025.
Not surprising, you really do need to try to isolate Karis away from the aggression that Creme can pull through. But TES, with the Lovers duo with the Pantheon, they're already indexing pretty early on into this game. You know, you can play this bot lane very aggressive, you can potentially give Creme something very aggressive as well, and with Cube here on the Sion, you're not particularly worried about getting bullied around by this Sion. As much as Cube's looked great, he's looked good during the team fights, so you can play your map very open right here as TES. You can index into whichever of these lanes you really want to aggress onto here as Kanavi. I think he's been put in a very comfortable position, and again, I can understand why you want to give the Ezreal over to Taeyoon, but this is just more and more safety picks that don't necessarily take over any of these lanes.
Does answer the sustained damage question, though, I will say that, and I do like Ezreal into compositions that aren't super beefy, because he does struggle with tanks. This is, you know, bruisers and, you know, secondary slippery support engage tools. The Victor coming through here for Creme, that should already scream out to Monki, all right, I know what lane I should try and play for. I know who I should try and put behind, trying to punish Creme. Also kind of helps alleviate the Karis problem. But you called it out, Bloxer. 369 has counterpick on blue side, a rarity for a lot of these teams.
Yeah.
He likes he's confident, he's on top of his game, and he's going to take the Sion into an Aatrox matchup that is terrifying if you're a WE fan.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very, very open TES draft. They're going to be incredibly happy with the pieces they've been able to grab for themselves, and there's a lot of lanes that you can now play around here as Kanavi. You don't have to worry too much about Creme on the Victor. You do have to worry a little bit about Monki ganking him. You're absolutely right on that one, but otherwise, Kanavi, he can go gank topside if you want to try to get 369 ahead. Otherwise, I think he's more than happy to just allow 369 to play that lane himself, and you can focus all your attention down into the bottom side, get JackeyLove ahead, put him into a position to carry, as has been so good for TES. For WE, they've got bits that I like. I like the poke, I like the fact that they've got some really beefy frontline champions, but I don't know how much any of these lanes are going to win for themselves individually, and that makes it hard for Monki to play this game.
It's really all bot lane, right? Like, you pick the Karma Ezreal, the double range to get some priority on the lane there. but that's a good highlight. There's not a lot of avenues for Monki to do what he did best in Split 2 playoffs and what we'd like to see him get back to, which is running amok in the early game. Again, though, not on one of his, patent carry champions either. Still a very good Skarner player, but I'm with you. Definitely favoring the top esports draft because they can execute through their solo lanes, being in a much stronger spot and scaling into the later phase. But all that is just hearsay until we get onto the Rift and see how things play out here. And, of course, as we have double group ascending day here at Bloxer, we don't have to worry about the new status quo here at LPL English, which is implementing our own Gyos when the Gyos are lackluster. As we head to Summoner's Rift, we will welcome in the LPL tradition very soon, the Gyos, for our first series of the day between two teams on the opposite sides of the standings, looking to stay afloat if you're WE or continue dismantling weaker opponents in a 8-team group ascend. It all comes down to this, Bloxer, as we kick it off.
This one's so exciting. For WE, it really is hopefully the beginning of something exciting for them, but will they be able to actually come out on top? Will they be able to channel that Split 2 playoffs energy and beat out a top esports that looks, on paper, significantly stronger than they are? Definitely underdogs, but hey, WE, they've been put down before, and they always get back up.
Let's see if the home crowd can lift them up a bit as we are on to Summoner's Rift. It sounds like we do have a bit of a split crowd because there are a lot of top esports fans that have made the trek, but home arena provides its benefits, so that's going to be very fun as this series goes on, especially if we have a close one. While we brought in the Gyos, though, we did see a bit of a late overload from WE onto that bot side, but 369 was able to keep himself safe and will return back towards that top lane. Just a couple of discovery wards placed down into the classic chickens. Nothing else really standing out so much of the fact that Kanavi and Monki will be pathing opposite, mirroring each other once these minions start to crash into their lanes.
I think it's very interesting right now that Kanavi's actually going to be working his way up towards the top side of the map. He's going to be fully spotted out, so that's nice information right here for WE to have. We're not going to be wondering where it is that Kanavi's at. And the fact that he's heading up towards top side could indicate that he wants to just get involved in the lane with 369, or he maybe just wants to get himself a nice quick clear upwards and then get himself back down towards the bottom side of the map where we're expecting a lot of the skirmishing to be.
We talked about this bottom lane, though, we thought would be pretty skirmish heavy, and actually pretty impressive to see JackeyLove and Hong put up decent HP bar trades into this Karma Ezreal lane that should be much more potent level 1. Hello, Kanavi. Wow, what an invade here. Monki was completely stunned, not expecting to see a Pantheon towards his Krugs, and he has to burn his flash, drop a couple of the Krugs. He has to drop his red buff as well. His Hong's going to take a ton of harass and have to burn his own flash. Throwing down early on here, just 2.5 minutes in between our squads.
Absolutely, this has been an explosive early game right at the very beginning. Are we even going to have that recall stopped as well? That's really going to be rough. And this bottom lane has just been very, very poke heavy early on, as we expected. We expected this to be one of the most explosive lanes. Like you said, it was surprising that JackeyLove and Hong were able to actually get themselves a bit of early pressure down. You would usually expect the Ezreal and the Karma to be able to do that far more effectively. And yeah, as soon as we cut away, that's exactly what ends up happening. You get a decent little crash down early on as well. And that's going to be a great Cheetah's recall coming through for WE's bot lane. They're going to be very happy with that one to get back out onto the map and just keep the pressure going. Tier now in inventory for Taeyoon. He's set up for success.
Congratulations over to Cube on his 500th game in the LPL. That is not a small feat.
No.
Looking to go undefeated on his Sion, 4-0 so far in Split 3 on his 500th game, but I don't think the stats back up Karis' Orianna. His health bar doesn't either, as he has taken a serious amount of harass onto Creme, which already kind of spells a lot of doom, knowing that Creme is on that Victor that really should be the weaker laner in a lot of matchups in this current moment.
Absolutely, the Orianna is the sort of pick that you can just absorb pressure on, but you can just absorb pressure on into a lot of the more aggressive laners that we've got. Usually the Victor-Orianna matchup is pretty even for the two of them. It shouldn't be something you're having to worry about anywhere near as much. But Karis getting pushed back really, really far, and this has been a problem for WE throughout the entirety of this split so far. The weak laning phase from Karis has just been putting them in a hole that has been incredibly hard to come back from.
Well, here, look at this. Classic WE. Monki and Vampire looking to get aggressive. Monki wants revenge onto Kanavi. Does a good job blocking a lot of the initial damage out of Monki, but it's a Skarner and a Karma. Do they have enough to kill off this Pantheon? Oh my gosh, it's just enough with the red buff burn. Kanavi dying with flash up. That's just disrespectful from the Split 2 MVP.
Absolutely it is. Disrespectful is the right wording on that one. He thinks he can just about get away with it, but the red buff, tick, 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 boom, and that's going to be the first blood going over to WE. You get it onto Monki as well, and this guy, he's the key carry. We didn't want to return to everything we had been saying about WE previously, where it was just the Monki show and everybody else was kind of holding this guy down. Free Monki was something I heard quite a lot in Split 2. But hey, if it is going to be a return back to that, getting him an early kill on a signature Skarner pick is huge.
A lot of just disrespect coming out from TES early in game here. We talked about Kanavi. Hong took a really bad trade into the Karma Ezreal. 369 1v2. Trying to trade between an Ezreal Karma. It's just got to pump the brakes here a bit if you're TES, especially swapping into this weak side. WE feel aggressive enough to try and go for this dive. 369 is going to flash right on top of Vampire's head, but a great flash over the sweet spot, and one more auto will get it done. No jungler needed. A 2-0 kill start for Team WE.
Gorgeous plays, and I'm really impressed with the way Vampire's been able to start this one off right here on the Karma. I think his engaged supports have been looking pretty weak, and that's the majority of the supports that we see in the current meta, and the majority of the supports that we've been seeing out of Vampire. But on the Karma right here, he's been super aggressive, using it to get himself lane priority bot lane, then using that pressure to go move around with Monki to grab a kill, and then coming back down to the bot lane to get themselves another kill right there. Being able to pull off that dive is just so impactful, especially because Cube is absorbing the pressure topside just fine.
Hasn't given up a plate yet. The CS is still pretty even now that 369 dies. Has to get back to a wave pretty late. All that accruing to about 1,000 gold ahead for Team WE 6 minutes in. And a lot of it being on Monki's hands, who is immediately calling for another gank setup. 369 is going to walk into a river that is not safe for him to occupy and gets slammed into the wall there by Monki. Vampire with the heal speed up forces the world ender out of 369, but the root is going to end up coming across here. Taeyoon needs to get close enough to push out enough damage to find this kill, and he'll do just that with an empowered Mystic Shot. Feats of warfare locked up for Team WE, and Monki is not done. He's hungry for more, and the Krugs are his next victim.
Damn, okay. This is exactly what we needed to see from WE. Get themselves some early aggression, and it's what I was not expecting. I didn't really think they were going to have any lanes to particularly play around. Yes, you're always going to get poke priority out of an Ezreal Karma, but getting that early dive, that's huge. And the fact that Kanavi's now once again having to last-minute scrap for some of his chickens is just miserable for the guy.
He eats a first shot barrage.
Ouch.
Oh, he loses his chickens like you called out. Hong does use the Unsealed Spellbook to teleport back in here. Creme, though, not really able to cover that well in this early game victor. And dare I say, Bloxer, shades of exactly what went right for WE in that Split 2 playoff series where they came out in 5 games.
Yeah, the fact that they were able to get themselves early aggression going and then keep that rolling was exactly how they were able to win that series. And a lot of it, as always, came off of the back of a lot of aggression out of Monki and Vampire playing well. Well, got a couple of those key ingredients going at the moment. And as much as we were a little bit critical of how much Karis was losing health, getting pushed back onto tower, still going to be sat even in CS, hasn't died, that's pretty good. For Karis, I think just going even in this lane matchup will be enough, so long as the other members are doing as well as they are right now.
All this chaos going on to the bot side does net Monki that dragon we just saw. I will say the one win here for TES is that you left JackeyLove solo topside for a couple of waves. So he gets a lot of XP soaked up, crashes a couple plates in. Gets the minion wave up as well, and now they're trying to transition that into a grub take. They get one, but Monki, of course, is everywhere. Has the Impale available. He's trying to serve up Kanavi like a plate of hot fries for Taeyoon. Second grub does get picked up, but Kanavi's going to have to pay with his life as Taeyoon picks up his second kill, and now JackeyLove's under threat. Good Featherstorm on top of the Shockwave, though. We'll make sure that JackeyLove slips out without having to burn any key summoners.
Oh, it's good that he gets away, but still you're picking up even more kills right here as WE. You do manage to get one of the grubs, which is going to be critical as well as top of that Drake too. So WE, this early game going incredibly well for them, and they just need to keep this rolling, right? You cannot afford to just let this game super slow down because the Victor will get online. The Aatrox will start ripping your head off as well. And if they can just keep this pressure up, which so far it looks so good, WE, they have set themselves up for success here in game number 1.
Mainly Taeyoon in such prime territory now.
Yeah.
He was already sitting on Sheen Longsword tier, which is something that he got to fast enough, as that Ezreal that we talked about needs to be that sustained damage. This next back is about to be pretty juicy. Don't think he'll have enough for the Triforce completion yet. But yeah, he's going to get pretty darn close here, about more than 2/3 of the way through. The quicker you can get this Ezreal online into a game like we talked about with 0 tanks to worry about, the more we can have another Taeyoon masterclass that we saw multiple times in that playoff series a split ago.
If you unlock this guy, he can show up. He really can perform, and being able to do so here into a JackeyLove who's been performing as pretty easily one of the best ADCs we've got so far in split number 2 would be incredible. Still, I don't want to get overhyped for them, right? We've seen WE pick themselves up early advantages before, and as much as that has made their team fighting look a lot better, they still are a team that sometimes just plays it weirdly. You know, Cube and Monki will go flying in, but Karis and Taeyoon, they weren't expecting it. Or Vampire will get caught on a rotation, put his team in a hole before the fight even starts, and make it even harder for them. So WE, they need to keep it clean right here. They can't afford any of those little mistakes creeping in, because into a team like TES, they will absolutely punish you.
Good time to take a look at some of the items, as there isn't too much to play for on the map with those grubs already going down. Curious to see what this Monki reset looks like. Don't know if he'll go for those tier 2 boots yet. I do feel like he might have enough to just finish off what I would expect to be a Heartsteel, which isn't a bad early rush. That's exactly what he'll do. So he gets to start stacking those Heartsteel stacks into this Pantheon, into this Aatrox earlier on. Does mean he's going to have to sacrifice some chickens, but that's honestly a small price to pay because he's already taken a couple of camps over Kanavi by this point.
Yeah, he's put himself in a very good spot right here.
JackeyLove,
heavy trading, hang
disgusting
on.
amount of damage, but so does Taeyoon. The charm is not going to land. Hog thought he had it. He had to go back for it. They have the Grand Starfall come across. Kanavi cleanses the stun, but Taeyoon still gets hit by the feather pullback. JackeyLove trades his life to get shut down Taeyoon. Flash out from Hog to get away from the Impale. The jungle supports of both squads will walk away, seeing their marksman fall.
You're going to be happier with that as TES, though. You are in a deficit, and the fact that you're able to get that kill over, at least make it so it's a 1-for-1 trade. Get a kill on Taeyoon as well, stop that snowball from rolling on him. That is going to be decent. Still, though, it does now unlock Monki to just keep stepping up.
This is not your jungle anymore. That guy's got a Heartsteel, and he will happily slap you around if you want. As you called out, though, Bloxer, Creme was first on the rotate, so Monki... Good thing we're going to say here, does not overstay and overaggress.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of the best bits about the Skarner kit, that you could just Excel's Impact and sprint away, get yourself over the wall, not have to worry too much about the fact that Creme had that first rotation, unless Mobile Jungler could have potentially been caught out in that situation. So good on WE to recognize that one, pull back a little bit, because they now need to go back, spend a little bit of that gold, because next up onto the map, we're going to have ourselves an Infernal Drake spawning in under 30 seconds time, and for WE, I think Drake stacking could be incredibly important to them going forward.
Definitely a bigger conversation once we see what Soul comes around, but now their jungler is very content on the bot side because Monki is once again invading enemy jungle, getting some Heartsteel procs. We do see Hong get a pretty good knock-up on a Vampire, but here comes the Silent Ult from Cube, and Unstoppable Onslaught dodged out there by Hong, so keeps himself safe under the turret, but it's going to allow WE to shift into that bottom river with that Infernal Drake up first.
Yeah, that's good priority from WE. It gives them a little bit of extra vision into the pit as well. Bit of time to set themselves up for this one. Obviously, you're going to know this is happening as TES. They spot that one out with a blue, but you would have known it anyway. Could have a proper 4v4 right here, although 369, he does have teleport. That's why he's trying to run away right now. He wants to go and get involved.
Does not want to get knocked up. Could almost just flank down himself by this point. He's walked about halfway the amount of distance the teleport would cover. The problem is he will pull Cube with him. Kanavi, though, taking a reset. He does have Grand Starfall, so he can rejoin, and I think this is a good back because he needs that Sundered Sky to be competitive. But Monki and WE know that the recall comes across, so they try and burn through this dragon, and TES are just a little bit too late. Kanavi a little too greedy on that reset, and we have 2 Drakes stacked up for Team WE.
I think it's the correct thing to do right there. Without the Sundered Sky, you just die going in. Maybe you trade your life for the dragon, and yeah, 1-to-1 dragons puts you in a much better position than 2-0, but it still is a team fight you're most likely to lose.
JackeyLove.
I understand him just heading back. Vampire.
True shot barrage from the Karma root. Featherstorm and Barrier both come out at the same time. Taeyoon, though he has to dart to charm from Hong. Hong comes in to save JackeyLove, who set up his own retcon mission, and Kanavi off to the side knocks down Vampire under the tier 1 turret. TES biding their time, do not care about early game woes. They're pushing down the mid-tier 1 turret.
And just going to snap engage a Monki. There's not really a lot of wave clear right here. He's going to step up, not sure why. Yeah, has to flash away from that one. This tower is going to get taken down right here as well. That is going to be first break picked up by TES, and I mean, that's really important for them right here because it means they can still compete for those feats of warfare.
Still stealing chickens, but maybe it's TS's time to overstay a little bit as Vampire rushes down with Monki. The same duo that got WE rolling earlier is going to find themselves another kill as Kanavi will fall, and Karis able to swing in and grab that kill to get the gold on the right opponent. 369 being chased down. He does have flash and a dash available. Vampire, though, still wanting to chase with that Mantra Q. Gets the root down. 369 will eat the root. The knockup from the side going to come across. But again, is there enough damage? World Ender heal comes across. Shockwave flashed away from 369. Now he's trying to turn on to Vampire, but the decimating smash sends 369 packing back to the fountain.
It's genuinely wild to watch right here. WE, they just have so much aggression. They know how to run over their opponents, and they're able to do it in a key spot of the map as well. Turn that one straight around to go and pick up the Rift Herald. We'll have a look back, though, because this is over-aggression from Vampire and Taeyoon, and specifically from Taeyoon. You really can't afford to be stepping this far forwards.
Oh boy. All right, well, that's how the replay started off, but this time it's got a bit of a different story as JackeyLove is far too low to try and set up Hong. Does get a good blade color back, forces the cleanse out of Taeyoon. Vampire gets a good speed up just before the Creme teleport comes across. Really are limit testing, though, in classic WE fashion.
Yeah, they're never going to stop pushing you, right? And they can't. The second that they do just slow down, let this game happen around them, that's the point at which TES are going to find an angle back into this game. Instead, just keep sprinting their opponents right here. And Cube takes half health off of Kanavi. He's got Karis on the way in as well.
Karis, no slow, no kill.
He's not allowed to play this game right now, though.
Does have the Seraph stun first, you know, relatively untouched landing phase. The gold is even between Creme and Karis. These mid laners need to be activated in this mid game, but the supports are still the main storyline going on as Vampire having to trade his flash with Hongs, looking for another kill to get back towards JackeyLove, but this time no gold to be found.
And Vampire just a little bit too quick, able to get away right there. Vampire has been really, really impressive throughout the early stages of this game. You can see them highlighting him here for good reason. He's been all over the map, getting involved, and with the champions around him at the moment. Specifically, I'm thinking about the Skarner and about the Scion. In a lot of these fights, it's been Vampire who's dealing the majority of the damage with this early game karma, bullying people out, picking up the kills for his team. Really impressive to see. Rift Herald gonna go down now into the mid lane.
Trying to trade that mid-tier 1 turret back. Shockwave onto 3 from Karis, sets up the two-man impale. That was a beauty of a combo coming out from WE. It only finds Kanavi, but gets the mid-tier 1 turret down. It certainly sends CS back to base, hurting.
Ow. Yeah, that was a huge combo right there out of WE. Exactly what you want to see. And the only reason it results in a singular kill is because we're only 17 minutes into this game. As you said, it's just the Seraph sat right here onto Karis. That happens in another 5, especially 10 minutes. And that's just going to be an insta-quadra kill. You can pick that one up, seal it, and move on with your lives as WE. Beautiful see, Hong.
Bro,
got my flash, bud.
This is not worth a pick ward. He's got nobody near him. JackeyLove gets close enough to give him the pullback. He's able to dash back out. That's the power of the Rakan, but here's the power of Orianna. Vampire grabs the kill, but Hong punished way too far up there playing the vision game.
And this was what I was worried about. The game moved on too fast to really talk about, but the flash-for-flash trade that we saw earlier on, that really hurts Hung. You want that flash on the Rakans, that extra bit of mobility. This, gorgeous. Into the Impale. If JackeyLove's a millisecond slower with being able to get himself up into the Featherstorm, that's just going to be another kill going over, and that's great to see. We are super critical, I think, as a broadcast, as fans of Karis, and for good reason. He's very much been one of the weaker players we've seen on a WE, that when they struggle, it's partly because of him. But at least in this game so far, 2-0-1 on the Orianna, kept himself dead, even with Creme, who's been performing incredibly so far in this split. It's been a good look for him in this game.
So now, how does this game look? Because we've already had a pretty topsy-turvy gold graph, with W obviously getting up about 1.5k in the early phase. TES crawled it back to even, but now WE, they've knocked down 2 turrets, picked up a couple more kills. But their main win con, the Dragons, they're a bit too late to try and contest. They're going to force their way back in WE style with a teleport in from Cube. Vampire runs it with Monki. Just like that, we got a 50-50. The Cube is trying to break wide open with the unstoppable onside, and they find the pin, the stun, the snare, all of it onto Creme, but he flashes himself back over the wall, drops the Arcane Storm. The damage dealers aren't close enough to help the front line. WE, they're way too disjointed, and the shockwave from Karis hits absolutely nobody. Another ult comes down, but all of this gets the Dragon secure. WE are on Soul Point, and they still seem like they want to scrap. They're still chasing after TES as Monki uses the Exalt's impact to get through the wall. They're trying to single out one member, and Kanavi's the unfortunate one as he lands the stun, tries to get the E back up. 369 still has that World Ender, not pulling the trigger on this Aatrox, and it's too bad because he's getting poked down. Pebble after pebble flying at his head, and they're starting to turn into boulders as 369 gets chopped down by the True Shot Barrage. JackeyLove drops the Featherstorm. Feather pullback gets them 1 kill back, but they're way too hurt, scrambling back under their turrets as WE chases with torrential pace. But they won't be able to find those kills. Still a win for WE.
Oh, and breathe, Slayer. That was a long, long fight that just kept on going because you do not know how to stop as WE. Monki, just every single time he's got that E up, stepping forwards. Can I find somebody to pin into the wall? Can I find us a little bit of extra aggression? And I think a couple more kills would have gone over at the end of this fight, but Taeyoon ends up tanking the tower. We'll have a look back at it, though, because this is super, super nice to just find that little extra bit to just get back in, get involved. Watch the way Taeyoon steps himself up to find the True Shot Barrage across the majority of members. It picks up that initial kill. Right at the end of this, we'll see if we actually get all the way. Good for JackeyLove to at least be able to get the damage down to pick 1 kill up back. Taeyoon ends up tanking here. If Taeyoon doesn't end up tanking, he could keep stepping forwards. Cube would then be the next person on the block, and he could tank tower shots for way longer. So that fight is so close to being even better. Still, look at the damage that Taeyoon is doing.
Welcome back, split to Taeyoon. Holy moly. This is exactly what we saw in the last time round between this matchup in that playoff series. He had a fantastic Kaisa game, a phenomenal Caitlyn game in Game 5 to close out that series, but if you know anything about Taeyoon, his most reliable champion has been this Ezreal, and at least that hasn't floundered despite WE's 0-4 start.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, they've been able to just keep playing their style. I think that was the thing, right? We were quite critical when we were seeing Taeyoon be put on a super late game scaling ADC because, like, that's not their game. W don't know how to play the game slowly. They haven't let up from the first second that they were able to pick themselves up a kill in this game. They haven't let up for even a moment, and so waiting for 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes until Taeyoon has enough items to be able to play isn't an option. He's looking so good here on the Ezreal.
Here we go.
They're going to be able to pick themselves up the Atakan here, surely.
Yeah. They're on a ward, and still TS are too late.
Matter.
It goes down. Grand Starfall immediately interrupted by Nixtal's impact. Huge combo from Monki, where they're going all after Vampire. He'll fall in the Karma, but can Taeyoon step back up. Shockwave's going to whisk again from Karis, and you can see Creme on the top side holding both damage dealers at bay. Neither Taeyoon or Karis can ever get into this fight, and that means that 369 gets free reign on the pasture with this World Ender. Otacon comes at a price for WE.
Still, the fact that they were able to pick themselves up this many Drakes and then grab themselves this Atakan, they're going to be pretty happy with that one overall. It takes a lot from TES to be able to jump Vampire and actually kill this Karma at this point. The shield's coming through, especially with the Redemption healing as well. is incredibly strong. Still, the fact that TES are able to do that is worrying, and a big part of that, as you exactly highlighted, was Creme just sat there body blocking Taeyoon and Karis from being able to actually step up and do anything in that game. And that's really important, right? He's now got 2 items completed. He's in a decently strong spot. We'll have a look back at this one. Just watch up on the top side. Watch what Creme is doing, because all the damage is happening all onto Vampire. That's whatever. It's Creme here. Pops down the E, pops down the ulti, and your 2 damage threats are just not allowed to play the game.
That Graviton well, wow, chef's kiss. It was right next to that Alakon wall. Even the Ezreal couldn't get close enough. Creme, glad you called out. The Roa's done, the Leandri's. Now, Creme's just going to get more and more damage oriented. Damage has been flying onto the forehead of Kanavi all game long, and once again, he's the target. It's the Impale coming down. A whiff shockwave again. Karis has gone 0 for 3 on these shockwaves, but luckily for him and WE, it hasn't cost them too much just yet. But JackeyLove alongside Creme, the scaling damage, certainly something they have to take note of as this game continues to progress.
It's fine, Slayer, it's fine. He hit 3 people with that first shockwave that we watched, so he's allowed to whiff 3 in a row, and now he's going to be back to hitting at least one
I don't know about
person,
this
right?
math from you, Bloxer.
I like this math. I think that this is the correct way to look at this, right? The next one that he hits, hey, if Karis, hits 3 people with the first one, misses 3, and then hits 3 people again in this next team fight, you're going to be happy about him. You're going to be yelling his name. I think this is fine.
Okay, here's the thing. We could do stats on this. We're not gonna have time for it. We can get into that in a slower pace because right now, Bloxer at 25 minutes, Hextech Soul is up for the grabs for WE, and they are muscling their way into this river, flexing their biceps, daring anyone to come close for these haymakers. Here's the first one, True Shot Barrage. That one comes out early, 369, still decently healthy. Karis needs to be big with these shockwaves. The flank is coming out. They're going all after Karis with the Grand Starfall. Hong's trying to chase him down, but Karis survives. Cube, though, is trapped on the front side of this fight. All the damage is getting poured into him as Kanavi tries to hold the rest of WE at bay. He will die. Cube will not as the tanky Scion survives. JackeyLove eats a huge chunk from Karis Esper in the Featherstorm defensively. Taeyoon over the wall with an arcane shift. That might have been a bit too aggressive, but this time the shockwave hits. This time the rest of WE can go behind their mid laner and his clutch ultimate to wipe the floor with top esports. Hello WE, hello Ace, hello Hextech Soul.
Clean ace right there for WE. Cube absorbs so much pressure, so much damage during the early stages of that fight, and it means that TES, they don't have what they need to be able to get onto the key members. Even with Taeyoon stepping up over the wall, he's still able to get himself back over, baits a couple too many members in the top esports, and not only are they going to pick themselves up the Hextech Soul, they're going to be able to turn this one into a Baron as well.
What a start to our series. These 2 teams on the opposite sides of Group Ascend. This is the first versus 8th place matchup. But this game would tell you a whole different tale as the purple banner comes on to 5 members of WE. They've gotten everything on the map, and all that's left is to invade the enemy base as Bloxer will take us back through this critical fight.
Watch Cube, and I want you to think about one key thing right now about Cube. This is a 1-item Scion. He has a single item. He has just got himself a Sunfire right now.
How is he not dead? Oh, the shield.
The shield is huge. Oh my lord. The thing is, even if he dies right there, it's not that bad. He's still done the work. You are expecting to die, and then you try to beat somebody's skull in with your vampire form, but it doesn't even matter. Nice shockwave as well, as we were talking about, right? Karis, he hits it in the moment that they really need to, and Taeyoon, he's playing aggressive, but damn does it work for him. He ends up with 8 kills coming out the back of this team fight, and yeah, look at the damage here.
All right, don't know where Creme went as we go back live from picture-in-picture. Nice knock up out of the Featherstorm from Cube. This Grand Starfall, oh, it's not grand at all. It's just a Shockwave Impale combo. They are doing tricks on it, WE, by this point, and they might just set it up with a Karis pentakill. 369, he's got a lot of healing, but WE, they can gift it to him, and it's Monki to steal it. It's a win for WE, but with a bit of a bitter taste.
Oh, that's such a sad way to end this one up, but WE, they're not going to care. They're going to be able to pick up the first game victory right here up against TES. This is the bottom of Group Ascend versus the top, but WE, they're going to win this one.
Expectations of our series shattered with a single Nexus explosion. The biggest single game win for WE against the best opponent so far Group Ascent has to offer. What a all-out blitz coming through from WE right there.
And we liked what Top Esports had for themselves coming out of the draft. We thought they'd been given a lot of the champions that they like to play around, that they could be unlocked upon. But it just doesn't matter when Monki decides to be the single most aggressive man on the entire planet. And I think the really interesting thing about that is that it comes off of the back of aggression from Top Esports, right? Monki, he's happy in the very early stages of this game to sit in his jungle, chill out, and just farm up for a little bit. And it's Kanavi that takes issue with him and gets into his jungle. And it works initially from Kanavi, but I think Kanavi makes a little bit of a map mistake, where rather than, after he goes up to the top side, steals away a couple crubs and the red buff from Monki, he doesn't then walk directly opposite the map and go get his blue side first. He then goes back into his top side, clears that, then heads bot side, and that gives you enough time as Monki to go, whoops, head back to base, join up alongside Vampire, get into the jungle, and at that point, where Kanavi dies there, being aggressive, deciding not to flash, all of a sudden he has lost control of that game, and it just spirals out of control from there.
I think the best way I can think about it for all the sports heads, you can get mad at me all you want. There's a reason these are all up on my side. Yeah, I'm gonna tie into sports as much as I can. It's like when somebody would crap talk Michael Jordan in a game or before a game. It's like you're waking the beast. Invading Monki when he was just trying to harmlessly clear his krugs and forcing him to flash. You can tell that pissed him off the way he played the rest of this game out.
Oh yeah, and he just doesn't stop. I think it's one of the reasons why the Skarner has continued to be an incredibly high priority pick for him, but not really for a lot of other junglers. It works so well with his playstyle. You can just keep sprinting at people, and you saw it. Ixtal's impact's up, he's going forwards. He's going to go over whatever wall's in front of him. He's going to try find someone. And he was playing with, I think, just the right level of restraint, where he wasn't always full sending it, but he was always looking, and any time that a Top Esports member stepped even a little bit out of position, he was there to punish them, alongside Vampire, another one of these players that we were talking about on top of the show, like, he's not been looking so hot, and that's been true on the engaged supports. Here on the Enchanter Karma, he looked brilliant.
It was so cool for me, Bloxer, because he made this Karma pick his own, in the sense that, he was still pressing the front lines of these fights, like those invades. He was with Monki, like looking for these roots first. He gets caught in a couple of these fights early because he's playing the front line, that Otacon fight. But because so many people jump on this support Karma, you're happy if like ults are getting burned on a support Karma in the right contexts. This time we really saw WE they were back in their flow state. They were aggressive, but not out of position.
Exactly. It was really, really good to see that they were able to just get that little bit of early aggression going, like I said, poking the beast of Monki, and then he just keeps on going. He does not ever let up, and he just keeps the pace so high that it feels like Top Esports, they're drowning. They can never get themselves back into this, and it unlocks these key carries to do what they need to do. Taeyoon popping off in this game. Really nice to see. Cube continues his undefeated streak right here on the Scion. It's the only champion that WE have won with, and I've got to start questioning if teams need to just begin picking it away from him, because he was huge. We saw it in that last team fight, right, where he's able to just absorb all the damage. He doesn't care. He can just walk at you. One item Scion as well, but I think more telling is what he was able to do to 369. 369 with the counter pick, even though he was on blue side, picks himself up the Aatrox, and we've been really happy with 369 so far this split. Cube shuts him down, absorbs the pressure. He, in the matchup where you've got the bot lane in his lane, doesn't die. 369 does die, and he just looked better. Cube looked way better.
I think this was just TES underestimating their opponent again, which is very funny to say, because I really felt like, again, this should be kind of a get-back series for TES. These guys ruined your Split 2 playoffs with all those lofty expectations. And in this series, you called it out at the start with the jungle, with Kanavi disrespecting, not burning his flash when he gets invaded, invading early, 369, not respecting these dives. It was messy, and a return to what we worried the most about from Top Esports that got them an early playoff exit in Split 2.
Absolutely, and I know that it's very early to start talking about Worlds and things like that, but this is a top esports who will be expecting to get themselves to Worlds, but they've been put in a hole because of their Split 2 performance. With the championship points, the weighting is super aggressive towards the later split. Split 1 barely gives you any points at all, and the fact that they then fall early on to WE puts them in a bad spot moving on forwards. It puts them in a position where, you know, if you're not able to just win it all, are you actually going to be in a good spot on championship points to make it to Worlds? Who knows? For the first stand team, that would be a really disappointing end. Still, they have to come back from this, right? This is a top esports who have shown the resiliency. They've shown that they can still pick it up. They would have wanted the 2-0 here versus WE, but they're going to be coming back in this second game pretty angry, I'd expect, and an angry top esports is very fun to watch.
I will say, if we're talking more and more about how TES looked like Split 2 TES in the game 3, you know, the game 3 mantra we had for them.
Yeah.
A lot of the time that they got into those holes, they would win game 1 and lose game 2. They were historically a terrible game 2 team. So this is a little bit of uncharted territory. Losing game 1, it is a little bit more worrying, but not the series over just yet. Our game 1 has concluded, and we will conclude our talk about game 1 here for now with a very short MVP conversation. Bloxer, just go ahead and let them know who we're both thinking. I don't even need to say it.
Vampire. No. I mean, Taeyoon,
man, you're trying to get me to throw my headset off. yeah, there you go. Okay. Let's return back to reality. So, Taeyoon very likely should be our MVP pick here from the series, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Karis looked really nice. A couple of the whiffed ultis as we saw, but...
Karis is... You know what? I just want to point out, Karis is laughing that he got his penta stolen. You know what? That means the vibes are good. That means the vibes are good.
Exactly. You never want to win a game, but because you've accidentally stolen your mid laner's penta, he's angry, and you're going into the post-game like, bro, my kill. And you're like, but we won. But my penta. Penta's a huge
the easiest penta to get ever, by the way. It was all of them
on
on
a
top
silver
of it.
platter. Like, I cannot believe that they don't go for that one. I would love to hear the comms to know if Monki meant to steal it, or if that was a complete whoopsie, and he's like, I'm so sorry.
I'm going to err on the side of caution and say it's the latter, but yeah, I think that's a very unique opportunity for somebody to get that content out. We do need those voice comms from the end of game 1, as we do see our MVP of the game is going to be Taeyoon. His first one is Split 3, so congratulations there to Taeyoon. Not much more to say there, Bloxer. Just maybe one of our best Ezreal players in the LPL.
Yeah, he's really, really sick with it, but I think that is something key to highlight. One of our best Ezreal players. There were a lot of comfort picks that you were able to grab for yourselves right here as W. We keep talking about the Scion, but there were a lot of comfort picks kind of top to bottom right here for WE. Can they do it in game number 2 with a lot of those off of the board now?
That's going to be the bigger question that we will answer on the other side of a break. But before we get to that break, got something very important that I want to make sure everyone is aware of. If you would like to support LPL English, consider becoming a Coffee member. Coffee is the best way to support this LPL English product, since the vast majority of your contributions will go directly to the show. A lot of the initial payments go into upgrading the broadcast, but a huge bulk goes to paying on-air talent and content creators. Subscribe to the Coffee. It's linked in the chat. You'll have time to go check that one out. And you'll unlock perks like early access to content and the unique ability to offer up on-site interview questions for those on-site interviews. So, like I said, give you some time to check out the Coffee link below, because the way this first game has gone, we may have a long first series ahead of us between our 1st and 8th place teams. Didn't look like that in game 1. Will it look more like that through games 2 and potentially 3? Only one way to find out on the other side of intermission.